That was a demonstration of using brushes with a trio, John Bunch, Mark Trail on bass, and myself. Here is part 2 on how to practice with your brushes. Getting the feel of the brush is very important. The drumstick gives you one feel. The brush has sort of a wider handle. Most brushes usually do, or they have rubber on it. And the feel that you're applying to the brush is not the same type of texture that you get out of a drumstick. Number one, you don't have a tip on brushes as you have in the stick, and you don't have the body in a brush that you have in a stick, where you can slam at the drum head and get a certain type of flexibility from the stick. The brush has a different type of feel, and what you've got to do is practice with them on a drum pad or on your drum every day, the same way you would do with your drumsticks, to get the feel of that brush. For example, you might do single strokes as you would do with drumsticks. You do them with brushes, playing right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, to try to build up a single stroke roll. Here's a demonstration on how it might work. This is a right hand and left hand stroking. You might apply some accents to it. Practicing 5 minutes a day doing the single strokes with your brushes can be very helpful. Or doing a mama daddy effect. Right, right, left, left. Doing that for about 5 minutes. Another way to practice with your brush is to practice the sweeping. Just doing a sweep sound. Get the feeling of sweeping around on the head. A wide sweep for slower tempos, a shorter sweep for faster tempos. But practicing that sweep either way with the left hand, getting a little pulse into it, or getting no pulse at all. Or the right hand. Now you can practice 3 on each hand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or pick up the tempo. So you got single, double, or 3, or 4. You can do that every day for a 5-minute period. It'll start to give you the feel of the brush. Another helping aid would be if you would take one of your basic drum books and read them on the snare drum with the brushes. If you are reading quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 notes, 16. And some books that might deal with accent studies could be very helpful in getting the training of playing with your brushes on the drum head. You can also practice with your brushes doing singles on the cymbals, on the hi-hat, on the ride cymbal, on the floor tom-tom, combinations of your snare and tom-tom. All these aids will help you get the feeling of the brush. Remember that the brush has a different feel than a drumstick. You can't treat it the same way. Now, you may also practice brushes using them in the match grip. I've been playing standard grip, as we know that from the old military school, left hand position with the finger across the brush, or you can play match grip timpani style. However, there's been a big lack of drummers playing with brushes these days, so most of the drummers have been playing with sticks in the match grip, in the rock groups, or even in some of the concert groups, and the more modern groups are playing that way. However, you can find that playing match grip with brush can't hurt. It can help you get the practice. However, I favor the standard grip because I can sweep the brush underneath the other brush. It doesn't mean that it's correct, but you might find that it's a very big aid in getting more pressure with your left hand with the brush down on the head. It's very important to work on your swing time if you're going to play with brushes. You would say, where would you apply the brush? Which is a good question. Number one, behind piano choruses. Help you get the sound down a little bit. It won't overpower the piano player. Guitar players, you might play with the brush on your hi-hat. You might want to find that playing behind vocalists, especially in slow tunes. I don't know why You make your time behind the singer. This will bring your sound down. Behind bass choruses. Either on your cymbal. Now you'll notice that when you go to a sizzle cymbal with the brush, you get a different sound. Hi-hat sound, either open, closed, with your other brush playing with the back on the stand. Good for bass players, guitar players that are not using amplifiers. Very good for piano choruses, especially if you're going to be in an up tempo. Now, if you're playing on a ride cymbal, you can also play with your left brush on the stand of a hi-hat. Now, some drummers like to reinforce their brush sound if they're playing on the cymbal, on the ride cymbal, with a stick in the left hand, coming down on the same time as the hi-hat. Now, if you're going to go into a drum break and you got one brush in one hand and a stick in the other hand, you can't get to the other stick in a hurry, you flip the brush around and use the back of it. So now you have the body of sort of two sticks in your hand. Now, if you listen, you'll hear the changeover. I'm playing with the brush on the ride cymbal. Left hand is crossed over the drum. And I'm going to do a little drum break. I'll flip the brush over. And while you got the stick across the drum, you're practically in a match grip position. So all you do is just lift the stick up. Now I'm back to the brush again on the cymbal. I change back to my other brush, and I have two brushes in my hand again. In the time. You're going to have to be the judge on where you're going to apply the brush behind vocalists, piano players, guitarists, bass choruses, trumpet player playing with a mute, trombone player playing with a mute, tenor sax player, or clarinet in the subtone. That's the register below the middle register. And you have to be very soft. This is where this effect is important, that you're playing with brushes. You cannot play your entire drumming with just drumsticks. Now, here's another idea about playing up tempos. You can play an up tempo with just quarter notes. Right hand is playing quarter notes across the drum, while the left hand is swishing underneath it. Now I got it into the right beat. Now, you'll find a lot of times you want to play a delicate type of drum solo using your cymbals with brushes. You might get this effect. If you listen, you can hear just the tips of the brushes being played on the cymbals in a drum break pattern. This is the time field. Hi-hats on 2 and 4. Now I'll do the first drum break on the drum. Now on the cymbal. So there's another idea of using the brushes. You find basically most brush playing is a delicate touch, and you'll find that if you force on the drum, you're going to get very little out of it. You're going to not bring out the quality of your brushes. So keep in mind all the time that the brushes ought to be played for easy play. Now, you can play with some kind of authority when you're playing with the brushes, and even if you're with a big band where you have to bring the band sound down, and you're playing about here. Now I brought the sound all the way down, and if it wants to come down even further, bring the brush over to the cymbal. Now you want to get down even softer, you play on a closed hi-hat. So there are some more ideas that you can keep going around in your mind. One thing that you do with this recording is listen to it over and over again. Let's go back and review some of the ideas. Slow tempos, you swish the brush with your right hand and play the time with your left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is one way of doing it, or swishing underneath. Now, to get into medium tempo, your accent is played against the brush, on top of the brush, as the left hand is sliding underneath. Now, if you go faster, you make a shorter stroke. 1, 2, 3, 4, bop, ding, bop, ding, There was a recording done some years ago in which the drummer played a drum break to a song called Cute, and it had this type of feeling. Again, you think of almost as if you were doing a tap dance. You can take a song like So there are some ideas using brushes. This should give you some starting points. Remember, the brush is a delicate sound. You should practice with it every day, at least a half hour. If you can, an hour a day will be very helpful. Practice on your drum set. You can practice reading on your drum pad with brushes. So just work with it, study it, listen to this record every day, and you'll be able to find that there's a lot of ideas to play with brushes. It can be the newfound art for drummers. So one more time, keep practicing, keep swinging. This is Sam Ulano. I hope you had some fun listening to this record. Listen to it over and over again. It might help you on your next job. The sound of brushes coming your way.